What's up, everybody? Who do we got on here? Probably nobody yet because I just started it. I apologize for the sun, but we're out here on the lake the way it should be, right? Tell you what, it feels amazing to be out right now. Got a couple folks out here from the club, a couple geese, a lot of kayakers, man. A lot of folks out today. Who do we got? I know a lot of you guys are probably out fishing anyway, and that's a good thing. You know, this video isn't meant to be a formal thing. It's kind of something we do every year, normally in person. Unfortunately, this year and obviously last year makes it a little more difficult to do that. But man, I'll tell you what, it just feels good to be out here. All right, seeing some folks pop in now. Try to get to a good spot here without the sun. Who we got? Billy May Krantz. Rick, how you doing, man? Craig Crossman. Who else we got here? Chris Brackett, Chris Owens, Andy. What's up, fellas? Jack, how y'all doing this fine morning? So what we're gonna do, guys, you know, I've been out here now, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, and it is pretty tough. I've been seeing a lot of activity, you know, towards that, you know, 8 to 10 foot range. I haven't really seen a whole lot of activity up shallow. So needless to say, I do not have a fish yet, but we're going to go ahead and roll with at least the safety portion of this for now. And I got a couple guys out here from the club that are still fishing. So if we get on a fish, great. If not, what we're going to do is just measure like a giant swim bait or something, just to kind of give you guys an idea of the whole catch, photo, release process. And you know, it really doesn't matter, you know, at the end of the day, how big the fish is or what you're measuring. You know, the whole purpose is to give you guys an idea of what to do and what to look for. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my camera here. Hopefully this works. Now it says I can't rotate it while live, so I'm gonna have to do some finagling here. Get this camera set up here, and we're gonna go through some safety topics. So got about 15 folks on from what I see. Hey guys, give me a thumbs up. Y'all have you know, are good to go audio and visual wise. If you have any questions, or if you can't hear me, let me know. I don't have a microphone, so just you know, bear with me. Let me go ahead and get this camera mount here turned. All right. Now, if my phone goes in the drink, you guys obviously will probably see some more fish than I do. So we'll see how long that lasts, and you know, that'll be the end of the day for me. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We got the phone here over the cockpit instead of the water, so that's a plus. All right. All right, sweet. We're live, Jim. I tried to get to a good angle to where the sun's not going to blind everybody. But so yeah, guys, like I said, appreciate you guys tuning in. Obviously this video is meant to be watched, you know, whenever at your leisure. So if you can't tune in this morning, if you're out on the water like us, you know, take advantage of this time, dude. It's a really beautiful day out. The water's real nice and calm. It's kind of hurting us right now though, because you know, we're over here at Lake Mooney, and a lot of the success that I've had on Lake Mooney tends to come from the wind and different, you know, the way the wind hits the bank. It's just something about this lake. It fishes really good in the wind, so we're kind of having a tough time right now. I got a lot of, you know, this water looks like glass out here. It still is beautiful though. But anyway, let's, without further ado, go ahead and get started here with the seminar. Like I said, guys, we're going to keep this pretty laid back. Nothing, you know, if you guys got questions, you know, pop them up, and I'll try to keep an eye on the chat as best as possible. And I know I got Andy up in here. If there's anybody else that knows the question to an answer that does come up that I may not see right away, feel free to go ahead and answer it. If you don't know the answer 100%, please, don't answer it, because then, a lot of folks may get confused on that. So anyway, the first thing I want to cover, obviously, when you're out here on the water, and really before you get out on the water, the first thing that you should do is take your life into consideration, right? Safety is our #1 priority here at NVKBA, and that's something that we take seriously every time we hold an event, every time we all go fishing together, whether we're during a tournament or just out having fun. Is the PFD, the personal flotation device. You hear it called many different things: life vest, PFD is what we normally call it here in the club. But I'm a big fan of these, zip up, solid type. A lot of folks like the lightweight, inflatables, which are great. Highly recommend an automatic, inflatable if you are out there. God forbid something were to happen, especially in river conditions. It's really important to, if you knock your head out, if you knock yourself out, you roll your kayak, capsize, hit a rock or something, swimming's not going to help. So I don't like when folks say, oh, I know how to swim, I just keep it on the deck. That's not really a good excuse in my opinion. So just make sure you guys, take that into consideration. Really, think hard about what your life is worth. It's worth way more than a fishing tournament, I can guarantee you that. So first and foremost, like I said, PFD, guys, especially in our tournaments, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you get caught without it, it's a disqualification automatic, and we don't even ask questions. If you get caught without it, it's an automatic DQ. So moving on from the life vest, with regard to safety, obviously Coast Guard law says you got to have a whistle. So make sure you have your whistle tied on your vest. Don't be tying it, hanging it around a lanyard on your neck. That could result in other, safety concerns. So you don't want to choke yourself if you capsize your kayak, right? So a good life vest that you can reach, something that's loud, or a good noise-making device, whistle. I think whistle is a law. I think you can also carry like an air horn if you would like some extra as well.
I think I sell them at Dick's for like $8 or $10.
Yeah, for the air horns are pretty cheap, and the whistles obviously super cheap. So you should order a couple of them. I always keep a couple of them, in my truck or whatever in case somebody forgets one. So definitely have your whistle on you, right? As far as your person, what am I missing here as far as like safety wise, like on your body, like what's important?
Cover the PFD.
Cover PFD, cover the whistle.
And of course, dresses appropriately.
And dressing appropriately, right? So that 120-degree rule, if the water temperature and the air temperature don't combine, don't equal up to roughly 120 degrees, then, really consider a dry suit. If you're out, calm water, not necessarily a huge deal, but again, anything can happen. Wind can pick up, you can start getting white caps, things like that. So definitely, consider a dry suit if you're going to be out there fishing during the colder months in the wintertime. It's definitely worth the money, worth the investment, and it's something that you'll have for quite a long time. NRS makes some good ones. Obviously, all the stuff we're talking about is available through many of our websites we go to. In particular, Appomattox River Company's got a huge selection, so definitely check them out for all your safety needs and concerns. What else, man? So we talked about the PFD, talked about the whistle. Let's talk a little bit of early morning and night fishing conditions, right? So a lot of our tournaments are going to get folks out on the water well before the sun comes up. We're talking, 5, 6 o'clock sometimes. We don't have an early launch time. Like you guys, when our tournaments happen, you launch whenever you want, as long as you are not fishing prior, 6 hours prior to the event. So like midnight, say our event starts at 6 o'clock, cutoff is midnight, so no more pre-fishing. You can go down the water as early as you like. That really helps folks kind of, it helps ease up the boat ramp traffic. But again, when you're out there during those hours of low visibility, the Coast Guard requires a 360-degree white light. And I'm going to go ahead and hop up in here in my hatch real quick and grab mine. I didn't have it up today just because it wasn't dark out. But these here, what's up?
I was saying you're good?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so this here is called the Yak Attack Visipole, right? So this kind of does everything everything all at once for you. And I don't have it up here today because there's no power boats out here. But if you're out on the Potomac River, you're somewhere where there's a lot of boat traffic, like big boat traffic. Having a flag is I don't think it's mandatory to have the flag from the Coast Guard, but it's something that we highly recommend. But what is mandatory from the Coast Guard is a 360-degree white light, and this thing just turns on. It's probably, you're not going to be able to see the light because it's pretty bright out here. But you just stick that up behind you, out of the way, out of sight, out of mind, but it's on, and it's going to indicate to other boaters that you are a stationary object, a 360-degree white light. I'll tell you guys right now, I know a lot of folks do it, and I don't think there's really, anything stopping you from doing it. I don't even think there's a law saying that you need them from the Coast Guard. The last time I talked to Virginia DWR about this was maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago now. Things may have changed, and it's something that I definitely need to brush up on. But are navigation lights, right? Your red and green navigation lights on the front of your kayak.
I can turn mine on.
Yep. So let me go ahead and turn the phone around here. If your kayak is fast enough, I definitely, I'm starting to see the need, for them. I don't know if it's 100%. Like I said, I don't know if it's 100%. Like by law that the Coast Guard requires them for kayaks in particular, because number one, we're not that fast, right? You might be going 4 or 5 miles an hour max on your trolling motor. Some of these Torqeedos, are going a lot faster than that though, and some of these new motor guides out. So definitely, get yourself a set of them. But again, if you're out there paddling, or if you got a pretty slow motor, I would not, don't really recommend them personally, but a lot of folks like them, But what that does is indicates to big boats that you can get out of the way quickly, right? So if you're not quick enough, I definitely just recommend the 360-degree white light.
Yeah, it's good for them too because they know which side you're on as well. So if it's in the dark,
yeah,
you see.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, very good point.
Because you have the right of way.
Yep. Oh, you're good, man.
That's the cool motor.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, man. Those motor guides, dude, you can at the flip of a switch, literally do like a 360 and be gone. So hope everybody saw that. All right, there we go. All right, guys. So we talked PFDs. We talked the whistle. We talked noise-making devices. We talked about lights. That kind of covers my first portion of this event, talking about overall safety. There's a lot more we can dive into with regard to safety. So if you guys have further questions, please, post them here on the video, post them up in the group, directly message me, no issues there. And I'll get back to you obviously as soon as I can on that. So, yeah, I guess the next portion of our seminar really is to how do we measure fish during a tournament? What does that process look like? And unfortunately, we haven't caught a fish yet. What's that?
I'm coming back to you.
Oh, okay. Did you get one?
I got some big swim baits we can use.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, that was gonna be my next bet. I don't have Billy. I couldn't find Billy the stuffed bass today, unfortunately. So I hope he comes about here. I think he might have got lost in the move last year. But normally what we would do is, if we were on the bank or something, I have like a stuffed fish and we go through and measure it. But let's go ahead and talk measuring devices real quick, right? So this year, KBF, I think it was actually late last year, KBF went ahead and switched over to the full. There's no more hog trough authorized. There's no more of there's like a tri-fold board from Yak Gear. That one's no longer authorized. There were some bending issues with that one as well. So in order to just make it straight and clear and transparent across the board, we went with the same thing that KBF did, and we're going catch devices only, right? So catch measuring device. I have.
If you want to pull it next to you, can.
Yeah. Which one do you have?
So
you have the
catch X.
You have the
X.
X.
I've got a donkey leash.
Okay, perfect. So we got a catch X. We have all 3 catch boards here today, so that's what we're going to show you.
And clarification on that's for the trail series. Hog trough is good for challenge series and one night stands.
So that's for KBF though.
KBF.
Yeah. So KBF, they I think Jim actually talked with them. Was it yesterday? They clarified that for you.
They did,
yeah. So they did clarify that KBF is still allowing the hog trough under certain circumstances, like the monthly challenge series. But as far as the trail series goes, and as far as NVKBA is concerned, we went full catch this year. So in order to fish in our trail, it's full catch. So this one right here is probably the most popular one right now, and this is the new Catch Carbonate. And this one's all plastic, you know, but it's sturdy. Like, you can look at all the ridge lines that they put in here, and there's not a lot of twist to it. A little bit of twist, but there's definitely no, I can push on this thing and there's no bend in there, no flex. So we're gonna get a very accurate measurement of your fish. So again, this is the Catch Carbonate with a K. And with regard to measuring devices, it's not a rule to put anything on the fence, but we definitely recommend a sticker, or if you don't have any stickers, everybody, I know you just got their annual membership stickers. We are going to be getting more of these round ones, these oval shaped ones in stock this year for a minimal fee. So between Jason and I, we'll put out notifications on when these are going to be available in bulk. But if you don't have a sticker, definitely recommend putting like an X on here with a Sharpie, or maybe, a lot of folks will even blacken the entire thing. And what that does, since these boards are so bright, it kind of adds a contrast to it, and it really helps us, daggum geese, it really helps us see and make sure that the fish's mouth is touching the fence, right? It's got to touch, and if it doesn't touch, there's going to be, I think it's a deduction, if not possibly a complete denial of the fish. So definitely ensure that we can see and make sure that fish's mouth touches here. So again, this is the first authorized board, is the Catch Carbonate. This comes in a 26 and I think a 32 inch right now. So we accept either length, any length really, as long as you're comfortable with the fish that you catch. They're very few and far between, but there are fish in Virginia that are bigger than 26 inches, and definitely around the country. So if you want to take that chance and run with the 26 and you catch a 27, normally what I say in that case is you win. So I'm not gonna argue a 27 unless there's like two of you guys that have a bass bigger than that. But here's to hoping, right? But again, Catch Carbonate. What I normally do with these and most of my boards is these always normally come with some kind of a hole that's already pre-drilled in, and I'll throw some kind of a tether, a lanyard on there, and just tie it off, because these do not float. You can make them float. A lot of folks will put some kind of like foam, in these ridges here, glue it in. So they're definitely, and I think Tourney Tag makes some stuff too to make them float. Possibly even Catch now. I haven't been on their website in a little bit, but they might even make some floating, stuff to make it float. So again, Catch Carbonate. We'll go ahead and move on to the new board that it just came out with. Was it this year? So, yep, Jim had it tied on as well to his. This is the Catch X. Oh, God. I just dropped something. That might have, it looks like a nail weight.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. Yeah. So, and this looks very, very similar to the plastic board in shape. It's got the same, curvature. Looks like it has, and again, this is the Catch X. This is completely aluminum, so it's still very lightweight. If you guys remember the folks that still have the original board, and I'll show you guys that here in a minute. That thing is heavy. Like I don't know. I haven't even weighed it, but I can guarantee you can double it as an anchor. So it's a beast. And Catch also started coming out with these awesome devices here. If you guys can see it, it's a clip. And it holds your identifier. So if you have the Velcro on the back of your identifier, it just sticks right up to here, comes up, and it's always there, guys. So we'll get into where you lay your identifier here in a couple minutes once we start going through the measuring process. But again, go check out Catch's website. They have a lot of awesome accessories, especially Tourney Tag as well.
We'll get your holders too, which
oh man, that is cool. Hold on, let me grab the phone and show folks that really quick, because these measuring devices, they're somewhat of an investment. Like the carbonate is like $30. I know if you can get in on a good club deal like KAV, Kayak Anglers of Virginia, is doing right now. If you're a KAV member for $5 this year, they were running a I hope everybody that was able to get in on it did get in on it, but they were running a $15 deal for that Catch Carbonate. So, but anyway, let me go ahead and grab the phone here and show you guys some of the cool accessories that Catch offers, and hopefully you guys can see it. But Jim has the actual mount here for it. Just mounts right onto wherever you really up to you where you mount it on your kayak, and it's right there, out of the way, but still handy when you need it.
And it's perfect for if you have like your baits and stuff, you can sit your shit.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
That is
But in no seriousness, it's accessible. It's pretty easy. And
yeah.
Each other too. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it works out pretty well.
I dig that. I'm gonna have to get one of those.
Yeah, they're not that expensive. When you order them, I first got the idea from On the Water Innovations. And,
okay.
I was looking at his website, and that's when I saw that. So I went back onto the catchproducts.com, and they had them on there. They were pretty cheap. It says catch on the side and everything.
Yeah,
so.
very cool. Very cool. Do they make them for all the boards or just the new one?
I think they're universal.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, I think the mold on the side is universal. So if you look at like the edges,
nice. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because I know these are pretty darn close to being the same kind of mold.
I think because I have one of these. Let's see. Oh, you got
the rope might get in the way. Yeah.
But it
looked like it was just about to go in for sure.
For sure.
That's awesome. So yeah, definitely something to check out, guys. If you guys want to,
You want to get fancy.
Get fancy and at the same time functional. So this, let me go ahead and put the phone back up here. I do. I don't have that one yet. I actually picked that one up for my father-in-law for Christmas, but I didn't get myself one. So it was cool to be able to. I haven't seen the red one yet. I think I got him a blue one.
Candy apple, yeah.
I think they just came out with a green one for St. Patty's Day. Nice. All right, so here is the original tried and true behemoth of a catch board, right? This thing, I don't know, 10 pounds, 20, 15, I don't even know. Probably not that heavy, maybe 10. Maybe 5.
That is an egg.
But it's heavy, dude. Nonetheless, it is heavy. These actually have like their own cradle system, so they slide out. So, because the original catch boards, they were all kind of the same length, and the cradle system just helps keep the bass, in check a little bit better. So what I did, you saw the new device that Jim had. This is a little more old school, but these came out from Tourney Tag maybe a year or two ago. It's just a strip of Velcro tape, and on the back of my Tourney Tag, there's Velcro. So depending on where my fish is going to lay on the board, I can just take this Velcro and just stick my tag wherever, and I don't have to worry about it falling off. So, there's lots of different ways you guys can do this, but definitely make sure that your tag is not laying on your fish, and that's the whole purpose of having these different variations of tag and identification card management. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get a swim bait up on one of these boards just to kind of give you guys an idea.
How much the slide to the guy?
Oh, perfect, yeah. So
I got take your pick for contrast.
Probably that dark one would probably be pretty good.
Careful of that big old hook.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we just caught ourselves a fish, okay? So a lot of times, especially if you caught a good fish, a good 20, 21, hell, even 18s are good tournament fish. 17, any fish at the end of the day is a good fish as long as it's over 12 inches, right? It's going to give you that edge that really you may need that 12 inch at the end of the day for that kicker fish. If no one else has caught a lot of fish, every fish counts. So take a photo of every fish you count that's over 12 inches. Don't get cocky and just throw away 12s for no reason. They all count at the end of the day, even if you don't upload them right away, right? So first things first with tournament fishing, and of course I got it hooked on something already.
Use this one, or
you got one handy? All right, cool. So we got a net, right? The net is probably one of your most important pieces of equipment, in my opinion, in a lot of anglers' opinions. You hook, and these nets are actually really, really awesome. I have one of these as well at home. These float. So, excuse me. You catch your fish. You go ahead and keep your net in the water. You can tie it off. These come with tethers as well. And if you don't have one, obviously you can rig up a tether. But you just kind of let it float, hang out by your in the water while you're getting all your stuff ready. And in addition to the net, what I use are a set of fish grips or a donkey leash. I always tether these bad boys off too. Jim's more prepared than I am right now. But anyway,
I gotta have my shit ready.
So this is a donkey leash, right? And again, you can use a donkey leash. You can have, you can use a pair of these fish grippers. Anything. I like these small ones because they're out of the way. They're not really big and clunky. I can just, with one hand, just clip the fish and then let him either hang out next to the boat on the donkey leash or have him hang out in the net, or both sometimes. I'll put him on the donkey dish, double down, or donkey leash, double down, and let him sit in the water while I get my stuff ready, right? Because you got to get your camera ready when you're out here. So, and you got to make sure that you're not pointing the camera at yourself. Make sure it's pointing down at your board. Make sure you got a good solid image, right? So what I'm going to do is, all right, we have our fish, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around, guys. Excuse me, and you're going to see what it looks like when you take a picture of a fish. All right, so let me go ahead and grab this camera. Just bear with me here for a moment. Try not to make you guys sick. And we're going to go ahead and hopefully I can rotate pretty easily. All right, so I'm rotated. It's not going to rotate the the image for you just because that's the way we went live, but it's going to be vertical. So anyway, I got my fish right, and I got the what I normally do, guys. I don't take photos through apps. That's just my personal preference. I'm a big fan of taking the photo on your camera, on your phone camera, and then I'll upload when I'm all done. So anyway, most important thing I do is I kind of angle my board up. I'll either use like the rail here on my kayak, or if I have it down further and I don't have as much crap in the way, I'll put it on the deck and just kind of use my foot to angle that board up. And what that does, in my experience, is really help out the equilibrium, kind of get the fish a little more calm. It kind of naturally makes the fish close their mouth, right? So the number one thing is to ensure when you're measuring your fish is that the mouth is closed. If it's open greater than a 1/4 inch, you're going to lose 1 inch. You're going to have a 1 inch penalty. If it's closed all the way, or if it's barely open to where it's like, almost a 1/4 but not quite, then there's not going to be any penalty. But again, number one thing is to make sure the mouth is closed. And like when you angle the board, it kind of just does that naturally. Helps the fish calm down. You could almost get away with taking photos, without even having your hand on. But a lot of times what I like to do is just cover my hand. I'm not pushing down on the fish. I'm not pushing down, putting a lot of pressure on my board. I'm just keep making sure that if that fish gets fired up, that, he's not going to jump out of here. And again, it's on my deck. It's not up here. I know some folks may not have enough deck room, so they're going to have to do it up here on their lap, which is totally fine. But again, if you have the deck space, I highly recommend you get them down on the deck. That way, if it does jump off, it's not going to slip off the side and into the water. It's going to more than likely come down and hit, the sides of your kayaks and be flopping around on your deck. And then you got some time to kind of finagle it with your feet and grab it by the mouth and get it up here again. If you do get a difficult fish, I highly recommend giving that fish another time out, right? Get him back on the leash, get him back in the water, let him calm down some more. They will calm down. It just takes some time. It might be a 5-10 minute process till you're done taking your photos, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about keeping the fish calm. The whole purpose of catch photo release is because we don't have live wells, so it really decreases the overall fish mortality rate. And we're good stewards of the outdoors, so we take care of the fish just the same way you do anything else in life. But anyway, not to get on a soapbox there. Mouth is closed, right? Make sure you got the tail at the furthest point. Now again, this swim bait is about a 6.5 inch swim bait, maybe a little bit less, but the hook is making it 6.5 inches. Excuse me. So with a bass, a lot of times the tail here will end up fanning out a little bit. That's totally fine. Give it a good natural lay. If you want to, you are allowed to kind of like, they call it pinching the tail, where you straighten the tail out a little bit, and maybe that'll give you that extra, 1/8 of an inch you might need to make it hit that 1/4 inch or 3/4 inch mark. But anyway, mouth closed, board angled, and don't cover up the eye. So you notice, like, if you are going to put your hand on it, your hand cannot be tucked into the gill plate, it cannot be covering the eye, and it cannot be touching the tail. And again, with your identifier, no more laying the identifiers on fish. We used to be allowed to do that. It's not a thing anymore. So make sure your identifier's up and out of the way. If you want, you can actually strap it around your wrist if your hand is big enough. But at no time can any of this identifier card be covering any portion of the fish, right? So that's why we really like these devices, and these Velcro strips really help out, kind of keep it up and out of the way. Just make sure it's not covering up Sometimes the tail, you know, will come up towards here. Make sure it's not covering up any measurement lines, right? So anyway, once you got your fish measured, I get a good, and again, this is probably going to be upside down. Let me go ahead and orient the camera a little bit better. But I get a good photo. I get way up high, right? Way up high, and I snap like 4 or 5 photos. I'll come down, I'll make sure I don't have glare on my board, which right now you can definitely see some glare from the sun. I'll try to be in a little bit better shade when I'm actually submitting photos for tournaments, but the glare, you know, can definitely play a factor in accurately measuring your fish, and it might make it harder for a tournament director to call a 14 or 15-inch fish. If I can't see where that tail lays, I'm going to be measuring that fish from the point of which there is no doubt, right? So that could cost you an inch, it could cost you inches. So definitely keep an eye on glare. Get good up and high, take a couple photos. What I like to do as well is when I'm done taking photos of the fish, number one, I'll put the fish back on the stringer. I won't release it right away. Make sure I get a couple good photos, and he'll go back on the stringer, and he's not getting released until I verify that all my photos are good, right? So what I'll do is I'll put him back in the water, get him on the stringer. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, before you do all of that, is I like to take my board, let's hope I don't drop in the water, but I'll get it wet. I'll get the board, you know, good and wet. And again, if your board's been sitting in the sun all day and you lay a fish on it, he's probably not going to be too happy. You know, I know I wouldn't be. So get it nice and wet, get it good and cool, and that just, again, helps calm the fish down. But anyway, like I was saying, I'll put the fish back in the water. I'll check all my photos prior to uploading it in the app. So I'll make sure everything's good. If something's not good, I'll get the fish back off my donkey leash and I'll put him back on the board and take better pictures. But yeah, that pretty much covers the measurement portion. Did I miss anything, man? I know there's a lot of things you can do that'll make your life easier, but really we're just here to cover the basics.
Yeah. I think, you know, because the different kayaks, your kayak is much deeper than mine, and with my big, long legs, I can't put it down here because of the way I'm seated.
Right, right.
So what I do is, if I have it on my lap, per se, if I have it on my lap, the wind is blowing us way away.
Oh yeah, I don't know where we are right now.
Yeah, so,
oh, we're not near the island anymore, I can tell you that.
I'll put the, because I have to have mine up here with the fish, what I'll do is, the head's that way, if the fish is going to flop, it's going to flop left most likely.
Yep.
I have my net right here because I've had it happen where they have flopped off and it was the net that saved me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But as I'm taking photographs, I literally would, right here to where I can see, I'll ensure the hand placement is good, and then I just snap, 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 snap. And it's only because I don't want to make sure I want to make sure I don't have any infractions. And then I'll do like you were saying, I'll put them on the donkey leash, put them in the net, and I'll hold that net right here, and then I'll check my photographs with one hand as I'm doing everything, and that really has worked pretty well for me.
Yep.
And then after I'm done, I put everything away, stow it, and it pretty much comes down to just a nice, easy release. That's how I do it, and I do the same thing. I don't load up directly to the app either. Right? I always do it for the phone.
Right.
It seems to work pretty well.
Absolutely.
On the app, I think you can only take one at a time, and that takes too damn long.
Yeah, and especially with the Fishing Chaos app, guys, we're all kind of learning this together, so I'm definitely not an expert at it yet, but there is a practice event up right now. So the number one thing I can encourage you guys to do is to practice, right? Practice makes perfect. Let me go ahead and rotate the camera back around. Like anything in life, guys, practice makes perfect. You keep on practicing, you're going to get better at it. Do not get discouraged if you know, you lose a fish. It happens to the best of us. I can tell you, like, every year when I'm fishing a tournament or something, there's always something that happens, or the fish will flop off and I'll lose it and I'll be all, you know, irritated, and then I'll, you know, just kind of ruins your day. But I know it's easy for me to say it, but don't let it ruin your day, right? You're going to make mistakes. You got to expect to make mistakes. No one's perfect. So you're going to get you're going to get fish DQ'd. You're going to get fish you're going to get deductions. You know, it's just part of the learning process, especially for all of our new folks. All of our veterans in the group can attest to that, and they'll tell you right away, like, it's not, you know, it's almost one of those things that seems like a lot at first, but once you do it and once you get used to doing it, it becomes second nature. It really does.
It's more enjoyable.
It makes it a lot more enjoyable, for sure. Like I said, don't get discouraged. We want you to come back, but definitely understand that it does get a lot easier. I can promise you that, especially the more you do it. So we covered safety, Jim. We covered the basics of measuring a fish. I'm not going to get into the whole upload process right now on Fishing Chaos, because we are out here on the water and I can't screen share that right now for you guys. But again, it's pretty intuitive. The app, it kind of walks you almost walks you through it. I know some folks have some issues like finding where they are.
I can actually show
like bookmarking and stuff like that. But
I'll show you. We can do that real quick.
Yeah, maybe we can actually let me flip the phone around and we can actually check out Jim's phone.
I got pinpoint on, so you can just hold on right there.
Sure, yeah. Man, that motor's sweet.
It's not bad sometimes, but it'll take off if you're not careful. Okay, so we're gonna bring up. I don't know if you can see this.
Might be a little. I got a little bit of a glare.
I wanna here. That way we don't drop my phone.
Yeah, right. Both of us.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down, and I think we can filter by KBF, right?
Yep.
And as we do this, KBF. So we're not doing right now. We're not doing a trail series. All right. What we're doing is our monthly, and for March. Hang on, give it a second because we've got some bad reception out here.
Yeah.
March State Challenge. It's gonna pull up. I've got my. I don't know if you can see it still.
Yeah, it's actually. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Okay, hang on. While it loads. Yeah, I've got my Wi-Fi turned off. That way we should. Okay, so it's got 464 anglers right now. I'm not worried about the rest, but I just know that as we're part of this, right? I can scroll down. Here's your assistance here, but I can scroll down to Virginia.
And this is a nationwide, or
yeah, this is nationwide. Yeah, it's okay. By state, so it's a monthly state.
Right,
yeah,
right, yep.
Right. So for Virginia, right, I want to click on Virginia. It's going to show me right away who's at number 1. Ooh, nice fish. Right. Now let's say that because I do have a submission. All right. After I've submitted, what will happen is there will be a button up here, and forgive me, I'm pretty familiar, but I thought I had it right up the alley here. There's usually a button up here that'll say "Find Me," right? And when you hit "Find Me," it skips down and takes you right down. Maybe I've been knocked out. Let's see here. So I think I was. As I scroll down here, I don't mean to go too fast. Forgive me. I'm just trying to make haste for the time. We got fishing to do here. Anyway, yeah, we've been knocked down. So we've got. I was 28. There's John. Oh, I'm down to 30. Son of a gun. So there I am right there. I'm ranked number 30, and what it does is it shows me all the fish that I've submitted so far. Now, as you start to submit these, if you're already in the system, which you should be when you do this, right, it's very easy. All you have to do is go to log catch. All you do is put in the the length, and it's already selected black bass, and then hit submit, and that's it. That's all you have to do. It's super, super easy. I wish we could have a bass to do that with, and that's kind of what the plan was this morning, right? But this is ultimately where we're sitting. And once you do click on log catch and then hit submit, after you put the total inches in, it'll go in. You'll see it'll have black bass. You'll see the date and time it was submitted. You may have to adjust the time, because what happens is when you submit that photograph, right, it takes the timestamp from when you submit the photograph, not when you took it. So you may have to adjust it, which I do. But within 48 hours, KBF is the one who authenticates everything in the system. It's not Fishing Chaos that does it. This is just the conduit, just the outlet for that.
Yep. The clubs and tournament directors are going to take care of all
correct
that stuff behind the scenes. So like for your NVKBA events, that's what I'm going to be. Oh yeah, you're right. It does take off.
It does. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
You didn't get hooked, did you?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, as they go through and they do the judging on that, within 48 hours, you'll see a little green check mark right here. And that check mark means that your fish have now been authenticated.
Okay.
So if the tournament ends, and let's say we're on the last day of March, and you submit a fish, and say that you're going through and you notice that someone got a fish on there and it's been greenlit, it's got the green check mark on it, but there's no way, or say someone wants to dispute against you for one of your fish, it can take up to a week. So that's kind of the turnaround time. 48 hours is typical.
And we're talking with the monthly stuff, right?
Correct,
like,
the monthly.
Yeah, in our events, like in our trail series events, a lot of this is going to happen a lot faster because I'll be judging the day of the tournament, right? So hopefully at the end of the day, then we'll be all set. And then there's that, for the club, we generally have about a 24 to 48 hour dispute period. So if there are any issues, we're not dishing out any payouts until everything's been squared away. It's a couple days, maybe a week tops.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
You think about it, when people start to do, fortunately I hope we never have to worry about that. But there are on occasion those people who are just less than honest.
Right. We've had it happen already in the club.
Yeah,
a couple years ago.
You can't be doing that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It takes away from the integrity of the sport as well. I mean, you're just slapping all the rest of the English in the face. Man.
It does, and we're, obviously we're not a. Go ahead and swap the camera back around. We're not a national level series. Hell, we're not really even a regional series. We're a state/local series. So, a lot of folks may come here and not think that it's really that big of a deal. Payouts aren't massive. They're good payouts for the amount that you pay in, right? So a typical tournament for us is about $35-40, a couple bucks for big bass. But at the end of the day, if you don't run a streamlined operation, if you're not being transparent with everybody, if you're not doing everything to a T, you'll get into trouble. And not only will anglers get in trouble for fraud and cheating and things like that, but the club, it looks bad on the club. It looks bad on everybody, and especially. So when things like that do happen, unfortunately, the hammer's coming down, and it's just something that, it's very black and white. There's no gray area. We're 100% transparent with everything that we do as directors, as leaders in the industry, and things like that. So, but yeah.
Real quick, I did want to ask, did you cover the link with the 1/4-inch measurements and increments? If the not touching the line, you fall back on the one before.
Oh no, good point. So yeah, so Jim was just saying. One thing to point out with these boards, they're all, obviously most folks have seen these, even the new folks have seen a lot of, the way that these boards are, but they're all broken down by 1/4 inch, right? If you have a fish and hopefully you guys can see it here, if you have a fish that's not, let's just say it's like that, right? It's got some shade there, and maybe I could turn this a little bit.
It'll be on the slides too.
Yeah, we got some really good slides that Jim made for everybody. We're going to be posting them up too. A lot of instructional type information. But if this is not quite touching that 7-inch mark, you're not going to get, even though it's greater than 6 3/4, you're not going to get that full 7 unless it's touching the white, right? So it's got to be like literally touching it, crossing it. But it cannot be under there. I should not be able to see any orange gap between the tip of the tail and the line, right? So it comes down to fractions, literally fractions of an inch. So ensure that your tail is crossing, and then when your tail is crossing, give your mouth another good look, because sometimes you'll be like, all right, sweet, I made it, and then you go look at your photos, and damn, there's your mouth open 1/4 inch. So keep an eye on that kind of stuff, guys. Like I said, verify, triple, quadruple check your photos.
Oh, yeah.
And then release your fish once you're comfortable with those photos. All right.
So it takes you a minute that one time.
Yep. Yeah. And another thing I recommend too, after you're done taking a couple photos, is take a couple snapshots around you. That in your camera roll, that separates your catches, right? So then you're not looking at like 40 pictures of 5 different fish. And you're actually confusing yourself because you're looking at a lot of photos that look damn near identical. Take a couple pictures between each fish. That separates the fish, and it just makes your life that much easier. So yeah, let me see. I'm gonna try to open up the chats here. I'm sure we got quite a few questions.
I'm sorry, I didn't know how to do that.
No, you're good. I'm actually trying to figure that out myself right now. I can see the audience. I can chat myself. Maybe if I swipe. There we go. All right.
I'm eyeballing this kind of trail you got on the back here. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. It's about that time, man. It's about that time to be throwing those bad boys. Oh yeah, he's already got one in the box, just itching to come out.
Too bright today for this clear water, but yeah.
So anyway, we got Chris Owens, Mike Jones. Nathan Cross is down at Smith Lake. Nice, dude. I gotta renew my my Quantico stuff, man. But that's good fishing up there too.
Yeah, it is.
Any tips on self-rescue? New to kayak fishing? Don't panic. Don't panic.
Absolutely not.
I know. Like again, that's one of those things that's easy for us to say. And fortunately, I have not been in a situation to where I was, separated from my kayak, but
knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Definitely.
Check your gear every time before you go out.
Make sure your gear, man. Do like we called it in the military, PCCs, PCIs, right? Do your checks. And then check them again. Make sure everything's working properly. Make sure your PFD is fully zipped. Make sure you don't got any tears, in your strapping, things like that.
So if I may jump in.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
This is exactly what the whistle is for. When you have
Yep.
that, there's two reasons. I mean, you could have someone who's coming at you, and you want to avoid a collision, and you're trying to get their attention. But more so, God forbid you are overboard. You have the ability with that whistle on your vest, your PFD, to be able to start blowing for 4 to 6 second intervals. So that's what the rule of thumb is if you're just giving short bursts, maybe people are not going to pick up on it. But when you're blowing that whistle and you're doing it for 4 to 6 seconds, or as much as you can calculate for that to be spot on, when you're in that cold water, it only takes a few minutes. So,
Yep.
Other than that, nearest land, always keep your orientation where you're about. And of course, if you have any houses around you, you know the first thing you need to do when you get out of the water, if you're in that 40-degree weather, right now the water's starting to come up. I think we got about 52 degrees right now.
Yeah,
in the water.
yeah, it's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, so you take about a month ago, in that 37 to 41 degree water, you're only going to last a few minutes. So when you get out of the water, the first thing you should be doing is taking that soaked clothing off, because it's going to keep pulling all that body heat from you. They always say wear it loose, wear it in layers. Well, that's why you always take layers off as you're getting out. God forbid it does happen. And try to get help as soon as you can, but you got to keep that blood going, keep warm. That's just kind of cold weather 101.
Yeah, definitely recommend too in a dry, obviously a first aid kit is important as well. And I'm very glad you brought that up. I always carry a first aid kit with me, and there's a lot of things in here. Yeah, sure. It's reversed. So. I always carry a first aid kit in a dry box.
Oops, yeah, it's on you.
Yeah, there you go. I always carry a first aid kit in a dry box. I actually got some reflective tape on there. Got that idea from Jason. Jason's got a really good video on first aid kit. I'll try to find it and resurrect it. I think it's back in the club videos, but I think it was last year, maybe the year before, Jason made a really good video on first aid. So obviously when you get hooks in your hand, things like that, that can really ruin a good day of fishing. So I'm not going to get into how to pull a hook out of someone's hand, but there are different. I got it ready to go. Some braid on a ring here, and hopefully I never have to do that. No. But I carry a snake bite kit. I carry some. I always carry a lighter with me in case you got to start a fire. Say you do flip and you're freaking freezing. Get a good fire going. Definitely, some kind of survival 101 there, especially if you're away from civilization. And then typical first aid kit, some medicine, things like that, things to stop bleeding.
But don't forget, if you can get back on your kayak, if it's still upright and you just happen to lose balance and fall over, get back on the damn kayak.
And there's tons of good videos out there on YouTube about kayak re-entry and things like that. Highly recommend you watch that stuff. And then again, if you get a really nice hot summer day, get out there with an empty boat and practice. Flip that thing, and then try getting back up on it. Wear your life vest, obviously. But that's definitely, there's no better way of learning things, in my opinion, than actually doing them.
Oh, yeah, that's my side. Yeah.
So
the good thing about kayaks is they're meant to stay afloat, even if they're completely, filled with water.
Especially with your sit on tops. Your sit inside's a little bit different story. You're going to get into things like bilge pumps and stuff. I've never actually practiced flipping a sit inside, but people do use them. I know we got folks in our club that use them, so make sure you're like Jim said, make sure you're well aware of your equipment, know your equipment, do your research, do your homework on it, and it's going to mitigate all that risk. So what else do we got here? Let's look at some more questions. Got a couple folks still on. Appreciate you guys hanging in with us. And again, Chris Owens, practice in a controlled setting, right? You don't want to practice this going down the Rappahannock River, for sure.
You got a pool, stick it in the pool.
Yeah, swimming pools are phenomenal for that if you have one.
So we can try to set up for class.
I got a pool in my backyard.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's a little above ground pool, but we can certainly maybe do something like that over the summer. It'd be pretty cool to show folks.
An arm workout today.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, that pretty much wraps it up. Talking about measuring fish, talk about safety for this 101. Again, I think we got some good news the other day that some restrictions are going to be lifted here in Virginia. I think outdoor events are going from 25 to like 100. So we're getting a significant increase there, especially with the club moving to a nonprofit. We got to make sure we follow that kind of stuff, So, and obviously for the safety of everybody. But we're going to I think 100 personnel for outdoor events. So that's going to open up. Once again, one of the things that's kind of our bread and butter, right, as a grassroots club, is in-person awards and kind of hanging out after the event. And we're really happy and excited to get back to that. Last year sucked, not being able to do that stuff and have to run everything 100% virtual, but it's coming this year, guys. As far as I'm concerned, I think we're, on the right track, and I think it's going to happen. I'm not going to say yes, it's happening, but I think that's what's going to happen, is we're going to get back to that stuff. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to meeting a lot of you new guys, and appreciate you once again for tuning in. This video will be available on Facebook and on our group page to rewatch later. So if you're out fishing right now and you want to come check it out later on, it's going to be up and available. We're also going to push to get this out on our YouTube channel as well. That way, folks that may or may not be on social media want to watch it via YouTube. That's something we're going to try to implement more this year, is using that channel. So again, thanks a lot, guys. Jim, I appreciate you very much, brother, for coming out here and kind of sacrificing some Lake Anna pre-fishing.
No.
Lake Mooney is one of those places where it'll surprise you. So
it's humbling. That's for sure.
We had other plans. We kind of had to call an audible this morning. We were going to go to another lake, but the ramp was caked with mud, and I really didn't feel like dragging the trailer through that. So we made the choice to just come down here to Lake Mooney. It's pretty close to Jim and I. So we're going to keep pushing at it here. I got a little bit of time left before I got to head back home, but hopefully we get on something.
Yeah, just so you know, there's an announcement on the Facebook page talking about an upcoming meeting that we're going to host. It's going to be Yaks, Facts, and Bass.
Starting up almost kind of like a video podcast type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Get everyone to participate so they can actually chime in by Zoom or by way of their phone or their video that they're able to connect with. So we're going to have a guest speaker on. That will be announced. But on the announcement on the Facebook website, when we put it up, I think it was put up like a week and a half ago.
Yep.
We encourage you to give us those questions that you've always wondered about, things that you may not know the answer to, or maybe you do, or you think you do, and you just want to know a little bit more about it. We're going to have an expert on, and then we're going to try to keep this going about every month or every couple months after that. We'll figure out a frequency that comes with that. But please post your questions on the website. I know there's a few up there, a few good ones. Anything about bass fishing, anything about the waters around here. Spawn is going to be one of the most important topics that we cover, of course. So please, I encourage you to do so. It's going to be on 6 April at 1800 hours. More to follow, more announcements to come up.
Excellent. Appreciate it very much, Jim. And in addition to that, we also have, like Jim was saying earlier, we got some documents getting pushed out. We have a new slide deck talking about fish measurements and things like that, in addition to the frequently asked questions document that I was working on a couple weeks ago. So yeah, we got a whole new document ready for the club, and it's going to be one of those documents that's living and breathing, right? So as more questions come up, and again, we're talking like common questions, questions that we get every year, right? We can point folks in the right direction and not have to repeat ourselves 100 times, which I got no problem talking about fishing, don't get me wrong, but a lot of questions that come up are like, hey, we covered this, highly recommend, reading document, and that's on us, that's on the club to make sure that we afford you guys that, and we owe it to you guys. So again, that's all I got. I appreciate it again, Jim. We'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully we'll have some more live videos coming here soon, and have a great day. Be safe out there, and April 17th is the day.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Get ready. We'll see you guys at Lake Anna.
Tight lines, everyone.